Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from in the country. And welcome to another virtual journey around the world with Nanda Journeys in anticipation for an actual journey next year, this time to Peru, where we'll be exploring culture and healthcare in August from the 23rd to the 31st of 2025. Today, we are joined by Nicola Balmain, the founder of Nanda Journeys, somebody I love talking travel with, one of my favorite things to do. But before we get to our exciting conversation about our upcoming journey to Peru, just a little bit of housekeeping we got to take care of, like always. As everybody probably knows, everybody here is muted this evening, but that does not mean we don't want your questions because we absolutely do. So, as you can see there on the chat side, on the right side of the chat, you can enter all of your questions in there as we have this conversation around Peru and some of the great things that we'll be experiencing. Any questions you have, please type them in there. We'll get to them as we get to them, or at the very end, we'll have time for question and answer as well. Above and beyond that, if you want to provide your feedback, if you think things are funny or love things, we have emojis there on the bottom. Your feedback through emojis is always, always welcome as well. Last but certainly not least, if you do have to step away, or if you have people that you want to join you on this particular journey but are unable to be here this evening, we are recording this conversation so that way you might be able to share it with any potential travelers, or you might be able to catch anything you might miss if you do have to step away. So, with that being said, let's get into the conversation this evening. Nicola, thank you so much for joining us, as we always do. For those of you them that are in the audience that are new to Nanda Journeys and what we do here, introduce yourself, but more importantly, tell us a little bit, maybe not more importantly, but tell us more about Nanda Journeys as well.
Good to see you, Michael, as always. And yes, you're right. It's one of our favorite things to do during the week is talk travel and welcome new and alumni travelers to the Nanda family. So for those of you joining us this evening, welcome to the Nanda family. Whether you're exploring traveling with us, have traveled before, regardless, you're part of this Nanda family that we hold so dear. And Nanda Journeys is a passion project of mine. It is my life work, my life passion. And I've worked in travel my whole life. Started at the grand old age of 17 in Austria while I was studying travel and tourism. And I came to the United States in 2001 and worked for a company called People to People Ambassador Programs. And they were focused on students and career enrichment journeys all over the world. And I fell in love all over again with travel, found my purpose, found my passion. And when they closed in 2015, my heart broke a little bit, but gave me the confidence and the determination to keep doing what we were doing. And that's when Nanda Journeys was born. And we're so fortunate to have our leaders and our wonderful alumni come along on this journey with us on our Nanda Way. Something that actually I'm excited to talk about the Nanda Way tonight, because one of the people that helped coin this phrase for us, it grew organically. We didn't design it. It just happened. Was our wonderful guide, Daniel Flores in Peru. So he was the one that I think maybe coined this phrase first, the Nanda Way. So thank you, Daniel. But Daniel is a very special guide, loves leading on Nanda Journeys, asks, when are you coming back, constantly. And it really started resonating. Lots of people were saying it. Leaders were saying it, guides were saying it, our travelers were saying it. And we realized that it was, pretty unique, but something we did naturally. The Nanda Way is normal for us, but we became kind of aware of the fact that we did things just a little bit differently. So always authentic. This conversation we're having tonight, we want to present to you like we were having a dinner table conversation. Like, come join us, ask your questions. Where do you want to go? Why are you concerned about going? How can we help you to address some of your questions? And then culture and community is really, really important in Nanda Journeys. We try and keep your dollars very local so that you have the most profound impact possible on the local community you're visiting. And that helps with a lot of things. It creates jobs, it protects cultural heritage, keeps people in small communities rather than navigating away to big cities. So there's so much that can be accomplished through responsible community-based tourism. And we've got a lot of that included in your Peru journey that we're going to talk about tonight. And every journey is unique. We don't have a catalog. We create every journey hand in hand with your tour leader. And we designate what we call a professional purpose statement. And that really is just intended to help direct us in terms of the learning outcomes, the experiences, and what we want to accomplish. So every journey is unique and every traveler is unique. So welcome everybody to the Nanda Way.
That's great. I always say every conversation we have, I love the Nanda way and how it was an organic thing. But I learned something new every time, and this time I learned it was actually established in Peru. I did not
Yeah.
know that until this moment right now. So that is such a unique insight. Another part of our Nanda way that's not listed here, but something that we are always super excited about and kind of adds to that Nanda experience are our journey hosts. And this journey is no different. We have a journey host with us that's going to make this journey so much better. We wish she could be here tonight, but unfortunately she couldn't join us. Schedules, conflict, and things like that. So tell us a little bit about Evette Wilson, our journey host for this trip to Peru.
Yeah, I hope I'm so sad that you didn't get a chance to meet her tonight, but I would be happy to connect anybody that's considering joining Evette via email, or she'd be happy to have a conversation with you. But professional schedules as they are in healthcare and education, she did plan on being with us tonight and sends her apologies for not being able to make it. But Evette has traveled with us on a couple of international journeys to India and South Africa, and she herself has traveled internationally. She's a professor of nursing at Arizona College of Nursing. But more than that, Evette is a global leader in healthcare. She's a public speaker about leadership in healthcare. She's a Maxwell certified team leader. Her passion is empowering new healthcare nurses, but then also working with healthcare leaders to create cohesive teams. And she the need to have cultural agency, this phrase that's kind of thrown around now for lots of different businesses. But really, it's to address the fact that the world's getting smaller and we're all becoming one. So in order to be able to provide the best care possible, or to provide educational support for people outside of the United States, and we have, growing number of people from all over the world, this really helps you understand their culture, things that drive their everyday that is different to maybe what we have experienced in our daily lives so far. And that's a passion of Evette's. So she really put her heart and soul into making sure that we address that as part of the itinerary as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why this is called, as Nanda likes to say, a career enrichment journey. So not only are you getting a chance to experience the culture, but you're also getting a chance to enhance your career, enhance your professional development through different aspects of the journey. So we'll talk a little bit about those tonight, but tell us about the core of what a career enrichment journey is all about and what makes it unique from just, going to Peru on a cultural journey.
Yeah, it's what we like to call kind of networking on steroids a little bit. So when you're traveling with your peers, you're with them all the time. So you're having breakfast together, you're on transportation together, navigating to different places. You're spending time in professional settings, whether that be hospitals, clinics, universities, community centers, or nonprofits that help provide healthcare services to a diverse kind of set of people in different urban and rural settings. So you're getting to see that from a firsthand perspective. And I think that's really one of the key benefits. And you're meeting people from all over the US, right? So you're meeting people, you're building your network in the United States, but more importantly, you're building a network of people in Peru. And actually just this week, I was talking to another leader, Dolores Battle, who traveled, she was on speech language pathology journey. And she pulled out a card. We were having a video chat, and she said, I still talk to my contact in Peru, and we exchange ideas all the time. And I think that's really important, and more so with Peru and a couple of other destinations, but pretty unique in Peru. Their desire to connect, learn, engage, and collaborate for healthcare is really profound. So I think, as we walk through the itinerary tonight, we'll talk about some previous groups that have been healthcare adjacent.
Yeah, I know it's something that you have a lot of experience in Peru. And I know that Dr. Evette, wanted us to touch upon funding the journey and the tax deduction capabilities of this itinerary because it is professional development, because you do have the opportunity to gain continuing education. many opportunities, or many times it presents the opportunity to fund your journey through tax deductions, grants, scholarships. So tell us a little bit about, I know Evette mentioned it a little bit to us, but can you delve deeper into how those who really want to go and are looking for a way to afford this might be able to make it a little bit more affordable for them to attend?
Yeah, and this is Evette on the right-hand side there with some of her students. So you get to see her wonderful face, and that big smile actually just showcases her personality. That's just who she is and what she's about. So Evette is very, very committed to engaging with you to help you fund your journey. So some people we know can independently fund this opportunity, and they prioritize travel and combining that with their career enrichment and development. Other people, it's a little bit more of a challenge to find those resources. Maybe you're new in your career, or you're still studying, or it's just not easy for you to fund. Evette has so many resources for you, including an invitational letter that you can send to your employer, or working with your school. You could maybe even get funding through your grant program, because this is part of your curriculum development, and Evette will be working to get CEUs for you for this experience. So there's lots of other ways for you to explore, crowdfunding. We've had some people travel that are studying that have asked people to help them, to take this opportunity. They see it as something that will set them apart as they start their career journey in healthcare. And the resources that we have online allow you to invite people to make contributions through your unique website login. You can invite people to make contributions on your behalf. So we're willing to be creative and identify an individual plan that works for you. And Evette has letters, resources, lots of wonderful things, and tax deductible as well, because this is a career development and a career enrichment program focused specifically around your profession and your industry. So we will help you to provide documentation that showcases how many hours you were in professional development, and we can help you identify what that might look like.
Long answer short, where there's a will, there's a way. We can find a
That
way.
is exactly what Evette says. That's what she would have said if she was here.
I think the biggest thing that I always mention in regards to affordability for travel, I have stretched myself thin to travel, and obviously I was always able to afford it, but I've sometimes stretched myself thin to do it. I've never regretted it. I've
Yeah.
always kind of looked back, the memories that I've made along the journey of, paid back tenfold. And as you had mentioned, on this particular journey in Peru, there's three main pillars that we're going to be focusing on throughout each of the, maybe some all of them on one day, some of them on one day, but is really focusing on continuing education, this idea of peer engagement, but also cultural immersion. Not only are we learning about the healthcare in Peru, but we're meeting the people, we're tasting the food, we're learning about the rich history and the rich culture of Peru. So we get a chance to see everything. So maybe that's a little bit of why Nanda, why Peru, why now? Why exactly are we going to Peru? Why exactly are we looking at this destination as an opportunity for healthcare engagement and healthcare education?
And that's a great question. And if I could invite you, Michael, to go back one slide, because I do want to talk
Yeah.
about those pictures a little bit. The reason we chose some of these pictures to present to you tonight, of course, you can go online and see beautiful imagery of Peru, but these are Nanda Journeys pictures, and they serve two purposes tonight, is to showcase to you how important healthcare journeys are to us, to Peru. So the picture on the continuing education column there, that is a group of nurse leaders. So that was our AONL group that went to Peru a few years ago. And in the middle, we have another nursing group that was led by Dr. Trudy McFarland and Dr. Callista Roy. Dr. Callista Roy is revered, and she was goddess-like in Peru because they use her kind of record system in Peru. So they were really honored to meet her. And then Camilla Ralier on the right, that was a library services group. But in addition to, our nurse leaders, our nurse educators, we have had, what else have we had down there? Dentists have gone down there, other nurse leader groups. Evette's here.
Hi.
It's good to see you. We're just talking about why Peru is so amazing and how we've had, a lot of healthcare focused groups in Peru. So we have a lot of experience and a lot of great feedback. So we know the power of the experience because we've done it many times.
Yeah. So not to put you on the spot right away, Evette, you just got here out of the frying pan into the fire. So in the idea of Peru, we're asking about why Nanda, why now? One of the questions is why Peru? In terms of this particular healthcare journey, was there a specific reason why you chose Peru as your destination of choice for this particular journey?
Well, I think the different levels that we'll be able to see there, being able to look at it from a rural component as well. I was really interested in the medicinal workshops that we'll be doing. I thought that would be something that's very unique for that particular area. Plus, I think, just Nicola kind of sold it on us. As far as a beautiful, it'll be my first time actually going as well. But also, I think the social impact is, as I partner with her, I really enjoy being able to have an impact on world data, a social impact, and legal footprint. From my understanding, we'll be helping one of the educational systems out there, or educational ones out there to help. So
and Evette, I'm sorry, we're struggling just a little bit with your audio. It's just in and out a little bit. So
I'm in a bad spot today because I'm in a area that the reception is not that well. But so I'll adjust it. If not, I'll go out and try to find another spot.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay,
if you have headsets, sometimes a headset can work. It can definitely help with the feedback and the background noise. So yeah, if you're able to find a headset, but it is breaking up a little bit. But we're glad to hear you have some great energy and excitement around Peru and Nanda journeys and our journey here. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about the itinerary. Let's jump headfirst into this amazing journey that we have planned. Departing August 23rd into August 31st, 9 days, 8 nights. Features 18 meals. We fly into Lima, Peru. Once we get there, we spend 3 nights in Lima. After that, we fly over to Cusco. We head immediately up to the Sacred Valley, where we spent 2 evenings in the Sacred Valley, getting a chance to see the beautiful Machu Picchu. Not bucket list. What is it? Live list, as we like to call it in Nanda. A live list on many live lists. And then we head back down to Cusco. We spend 3 nights in Cusco before flying home through Lima on the way back. On our first day, we are flying. The beauty of flying into South America is it's not an overnight flight. It's just to depart for Peru. We will be arriving in Lima, Peru a little bit later this evening with people flying in from all over the country. So there's no guided tours. There's no travel tours of Lima upon arrival. Just kind of get into the hotel, get yourself settled, get excited for an amazing trip to and through Lima and exploring Peru's capital on day 2. So on day 2, we join our group. We get a chance to do our welcome with our tour manager, getting a chance to learn about the journey, what to expect. Tell us a little bit about what's in store for us on day 1, Nicola.
Yeah, I think Lima is such a fascinating city because of its location. So you're coastal, you have those gorgeous mountains, you have the colonial architecture. So there's so much to see and do in Lima. And as you mentioned, it's super easy from the US. Lots of direct flights into Lima, Peru, and you don't have the time change. So it's quick access and you don't have the time change, and it's stunning. It's, beautiful. I don't think we have a beachside setting, but, you can see the coastline as you're navigating through. So the colonial architecture alone is worth looking at. The Plaza Mayor is right here in front of you on this picture. So you'll go through Lima and look at the highlights and the different neighborhoods and the different ways of living. living in this, densely populated cities where the majority of the population from Peru lives, but you'll be with your national guide and they'll be taking you through all the highlights of Lima. But yeah, the scenery is just quite spectacular no matter which angle you're looking at it from.
And your local guide is with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're from this country. So the reason I love that aspect of Nanda Journeys is because, when you're traveling with someone who lives in a country, you can just sense their love of their country and the cities and the places they visit. And all they want you to do is to love it as much as they love it. So all they're going to do is show you their favorite restaurants, their favorite places to go shopping. It's like traveling overseas with a friend. I love having someone local as opposed to flying in someone else who's a tour guide who might be a professional tour guide
Yes.
from another part of the world. If they
Yeah.
live there, it provides a very unique insight as you travel the city, which is awesome.
And if anybody that follows Nanda Journeys on our social media posts, whenever we post, you'll see the name Daniel Flores. And Daniel Flores is the tour guide, and we desperately hope will still remain to be available. We've kind of penciled him in to receive you because he's led so many of our healthcare groups, and he is so passionate about the way we showcase people to Peru that he clamors at the opportunity to join these groups because he wants to travel and show you his country through this lens. So he really enjoys this type and style because he doesn't have an opportunity in all of his work to show his country this way. So you're absolutely right about that. You're traveling with a friend, that's for sure.
I love it. And we also get a chance after our city tour to see a local museum. The museums that we visit on this tour are unique in and of themselves. What makes this particular museum stop in Lima unique in its own way?
Yeah, it has artwork from the 18th century here. I mean, clearly there is a very, very deep history in Peru with many, many different civilizations and artworks and art forms. So this is one opportunity to take a look at that. This also gives you a sense of what Peru was. It's a lot of arts and art forms, but it allows your guide to tell you about the various iterations of the country and its people.
I love that. And after our city tour, one of my favorite moments of every tour that I've ever been on or every journey that I've ever gone on is the welcome dinner. I say this on a lot of the conversations that we have. The welcome dinner is such a pivotal moment. It's where the friends are made, where you get a chance to meet everyone. You spent the day with them. You get a chance to talk about your favorite moments. I always like to talk about the beginning of the tour, how you try and getting people to talk, getting them to communicate with one another, make friendships. And then 4 or 5 days in, you're getting them to stop talking so that way you can tell them what's happening next. And it all starts with a welcome dinner. Tell us about the pivotal role that a welcome dinner has in the journey. And Evette, if you are able to, come in and chime in without any kind of interference, we'd love to hear your thoughts around the welcome dinner as well.
Okay, let me know if this sounds better or not.
Yes.
That's good.
Awesome. Actually, the welcome dinner is also one of my favorite ones as well, because, we come in as strangers, and then it's an opportunity to connect. We learn about each other, what your goals are for the trip. And we find out, a lot about commonalities, what we have in common. And so it's just a really great opportunity to connect and learn each other. And then most of the time you come in there as strangers and we end up as friends. I mean, most of us still stay connected even after the trip is over. And so that has really been a great way to just start our trip off. And so I do look forward to those as well.
Yeah, and something that I heard quite a lot of that is a lot of people that consider joining our journeys, they might be single travelers, like solo travelers, and they're nervous about traveling by themselves. They don't have a travel partner, or their spouse or partner doesn't want to travel with them. This is where those friendships are made. And I would say all of our journeys have some people that fits that mold. Right? So they're traveling on their own and they're like, who's going to be my friend? Well, you're going to find friends on a Nanda journey, and they're going to be lifelong friends, in fact,
Absolutely. And again, we're in a group, so it's very safe, and you just feel really comfortable being able to go with someone. And so we did We have a couple that came by, a couple of people that came by themselves, but ended up, we all grouped together. So it ended up being a great way to connect with people. So solo travelers definitely welcome.
Yeah. Did I lose you, Michael?
I think so. He's got that cute little smile on
He's
his
got a
face.
cute little smile, and he's in charge of the slides, but that's okay. He'll pop back in. So for those of you, this gives us an opportunity. Evette, introduce yourself while Michael's reconnecting here, and tell people why you're passionate about leading these journeys with us.
Yes, hello. I'm Dr. Wilson, and by trade, I've been a nurse for over 31, 32 years. And currently, I am the professor of nursing at Arizona College of Nursing. And it's a BSN program. And so we're teaching pre-licensure nurses. In addition, I have my own business as a coach, leader, speaker, trainer, and leadership executive coaching. So I do a little bit of that in consulting, but I absolutely love to experience new cultures. I love people. I'm an I personality, if you know anything about the personality assessments for DISC. And so my superpower is connecting and influencing people. So I love, and this just fits right into my style, not only learning about the different cultures, learning about the different traditions, learning about the diverse people that I serve, but I'm also able to bring that back and provide some great patient-centered care, but also it's a great way for me to also serve my diverse students that I have as well. And it's a great way to connect with people when you are able to connect with them on their own, on their own level. And so I really enjoy that aspect of it. And I'm so excited to be partnering with Nanda.
I know, and you get CEOs as well. You get CEUs for these journeys, and we're looking to do that again for this Peru journey. And I think you're very passionate about, helping people to finance. We talked about this a little bit, but you have a lot of ideas and resources to help them. So it's nice that they get to see how passionate you are about that.
Yeah. And hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit about that with you guys before we can get off this call.
Yeah, we shared a little bit. Well, Michael's jumping back on as we all experience technical challenges here and there. He's going to be back online with us in a second, and we'll walk through the itinerary with everybody. But about 50% of what you'll experience in Peru is going to be healthcare focused. And we're inviting everybody on the healthcare spectrum. So it's an interprofessional delegation, purposefully designed that way, because you and I spoke about that, Evette, and that I think it magnifies the learning opportunities and the networking, going into clinical settings that allow us to interact with nurses, doctors, educators, nonprofit leaders. So for those people watching in any space, we think this will be a program that'll be, great for everybody.
Absolutely. And it's especially useful if you're trying to expand your leadership skills or expand your influence beyond your small network, your local network. You can leave an international footprint. Um, our last trip that we did to South Africa, we actually have a meeting set up with one of the schools for some collaborations and partnerships coming up. So it's a great way to not only network, but partner and again, have a global impact.
Yeah. And you're writing a series right now on LinkedIn about how it can be useful in your early, middle, and later stage career. Is that right?
Yes, we have it's an 8 week series. I think we're on week 7 now, but if anybody out there is interested, just reach out to me and I can get them a copy of that. But it's on cultural competence and how you can develop your inclusive leadership skills by traveling on these global trips and being exposed. And so it's a great opportunity, as most of us are talking about cultural competence, diversity, inclusion. There's a lot of DEI things out there, and how do we make a more inclusive culture? And so that series was an 8 week series specifically aimed at how do we get the diversity that we need in order to be inclusive, but how do we become inclusive, and how do we use these skills that we're picking up on these different trips to increase our leadership skills and develop those.
That's great. That's awesome. I'm going to start talking a little bit about the flow of the program. We don't have the benefit of the beautiful pictures, but we can send that along to everybody, and we'll send links out to everybody with a link to the website and all the beautiful pictures. But I think what's important is to talk about what are you going to be doing each day on this journey. So I'll use my trusty backup handout that I printed out, thankfully, here. So we talked about arriving into Lima, and we stay overnight in Lima, and we have the welcome dinner. And then the next day, we're jumping into your professional content. And there is a guest program. So professional members in the morning, we're going to go to, it'll be a hospital location or a ministry office, and hear about the healthcare system in Peru. You know, how does it work? What is the oversight? How do you get qualified? What is the difference between rural and way of medicine? And of course, there is an indigenous culture that's really important that we'll have to factor in as well. So in the morning, that's when you'll get that briefing. And then the guests actually will go, where are the guests going? They're going to go to the local market. So a great way for guests to start out their textile hunting, or maybe trying some of the local food. And then everybody will reconvene in the afternoon at the Museo Laco Museum. And we keep this one in because we have a kind of a little insider knowledge about this particular museum. Because Mariana, who helps us develop these programs, she used to work in the leadership team for this particular museum. So we tend to have a very special experience, let's say. And it's a must visit if you go to Lima. You really must visit this particular museum. So we stay overnight then in Lima. And then we start to head out to Cusco. And Cusco is obviously the access point to Machu Picchu. So Evette, have you had Machu Picchu on your live list for a long time?
It is on my bucket list.
It's so funny. Somebody introduced us to the concept of live list in a recent webinar. We've adopted that language because we feel like it fits with what we're doing. There you are. The tech gremlins get you, Michael?
Sorry. I'm sorry?
Did the technology gremlins get you?
Oh my gosh. It restarted twice as it was updating, and like I was just sitting here screaming at the computer. So
don't worry about it. Well, we were keeping up the conversation, and we'd love if you would to kind of jump to day 4. We talked about that first day already, and if you wanted to jump to day 4, and now everybody has some beautiful imagery to help us along with the conversation.
There we go. So day 4. I'll let you continue wherever you are. Were you in the local community home hosted meal yet?
Yeah, we were just getting to that. So when we go to the Sacred Valley, one of the things we love to do is introduce you to the local culture and to the local people. So wherever possible, we like to get into people's homes or the community. And there's several of those opportunities here. So Maria's going to cook you a traditional lunch. And this is where you'll probably learn a lot about Pachamama. Pachamama, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, very, very important in the Peruvian culture, especially so in the Sacred Valley, where they still farm, plant, harvest very much in those traditional methods. And you're going to learn about the giant white corn that really only grows in this area. Obviously, lots of beautiful corn and maize there, but you'll have a locally cooked meal. But really, the purpose is for you to meet somebody, to have a local home-hosted experience, and to learn about this unique culture in the Sacred Valley.
Yeah, one thing I think a lot of people overlook, and just to kind of chime in regards to the culture, is they look at the history, they look at the people, they look at the buildings and the architecture. Very few actually look at the culture as a food aspect. And so getting a chance to sit with a local family, I know when I've had a chance to have a home hosted meal, I've always thought, oh man, this is going to be awkward sitting in their house. Like, how am I going to, but it's a very welcoming and warm experience. And it provides you a very, very unique interest introspective opportunity to see how the families live before, you get a chance to eat the meal. You can ask questions. It's a really, really cool and unique way to experience not only the people and the culture, but also the food, which I think something like this is great. So
Yeah,
after that, we travel on to
yeah.
go on.
Maria's third generation, kind of, keeping the family farming way, and they've got this little, social tourism project that allows them to continue to live a sustainable lifestyle that also leans into those heritage ways of living as well. So combining tourism, learning, you're really helping the community to be able to stay where they grew up. And this is the third generation that without that, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, the family home is my most favorite ones as well. And because again, you get to really meet the people. You can't really do that on a vacation. When you go on a vacation, you really can't get to know the locals, visit with them, and you just feel like you're part of the family. And it again has also developed some really great friendships. So it's been one of my um, best parts of the trip, and I'm so glad you guys continue to include that in.
That's awesome.
After our home hosted meal, our home hosted lunch, we get a chance to go over to Pasac. And I was just looking at this image. It reminds me of like a Peruvian Sorrento, in all honesty, like the little alleyways and little places you can get yourself lost in. Because this part of Peru is very well known for their artisan shops and their local shops. So getting a chance to, get lost doing a little bit of shopping, maybe not my favorite thing to do, but my wife's favorite thing to do. It's definitely a great chance to explore the city. Tell us a little bit about this, this charming town here in Peru.
Yeah, Pisaki, I mean, it's famous for its textiles, these beautiful colors here, and they're hand woven textiles, organically dyed textile material, and of course, all the traditional dress. So yes, you will see them wearing all of these colors in their traditional style, walking around with the llama and getting into motor vehicles in the llama. And this is part of everyday life up here. The llama is like, our pet who we love and adore, or a cat. You'll see them here in this area. So you're high in the Andes, small cobbled streets, as you say, quaint village, but with the most beautiful colors. So I highly recommend taking a good camera for some amazing pictures as well.
Yeah. And one of the things that we do here is we actually get a chance in some of the nights we have dinner on our own, a chance to explore and have dinner on our own throughout some of the cities. Peru, in many of these towns and cities, very safe to walk around at night. Tell us a little bit about dinner on your own, kind of what they can expect. And for those solo travelers, dinner on your own can be a little intimidating. Tell us a little bit about how that is as a traveler, as a solo.
Well, as Evette knows, there is no solo in Nanda. The Nanda family doesn't let anybody go by themselves. So typically people always navigate around doing a group dinner, regardless of whether it's on own or not. But we intentionally do that so you can, if you wish, go off and experience new things, and you don't feel kind of pushed into having to do this one thing. And the food in Peru is phenomenal. It's widely acclaimed. So many amazingly accomplished chefs, but also in these local small communities, very local food items as well. So it gives you an opportunity to try really local food. And for those of you that don't know, the potato does not come from Ireland. And as a former Murphy who grew up in England with Irish grandparents, that was a surprise to me. And you'll learn a lot about the different vegetables and the hundreds and hundreds of types of potato, many of which they're trying to bring back to regular agriculture because they've kind of been lost over time. So many, many, many different diversions we could take with food in Peru, and lots of little unique treats too, but that I'm not going to tell you about. You just have to wait till you're there.
Absolutely. Don't want to spoil the fun for the tour manager to be able to tour guide to tell them all the amazing things that they'll learn. On day 5, we are back at healthcare immersion and learning and professional development. On day 5, we explore the local community. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect to experience on day 5 in this healthcare community immersion.
Yeah, and this is a nonprofit that's been established since 2012, and we've been with several of our healthcare groups, dental groups, mental health groups. And this particular group, Dr. Carol Houston led a journey here some years ago. And I want to tell this really lovely story because I think it leans into why we do what we do. This particular nonprofit struggles to provide the full range of healthcare, right? They do the best with the resources that they have. And it became known to us before they arrived that they did not have the pediatric cuffs to be able to, take the blood pressure for the younger people in the community. And Carol Houston went to work with the participants and managed to get not only the pediatric cuffs donated, but also some additional supplies that they needed. Now, that isn't a story to say, hey, you need to come and you need to be able to resource up what they don't have. That's just to tell you what happens on a Nanda journey organically. That story was just presented, and that's just what happened. So yes, you will go learn about how do they deliver holistic healthcare that incorporates traditional medicine, indigenous medicine. It aligns with their culture, doesn't overstep the boundaries of how they live their lives in this area, but provides really good healthcare practices. So as you can see, already integrated, they've been there a couple of hours. Kids love the experience, but you'll get to spend time with the people that deliver healthcare here. How are they working with the government, the nonprofit communities, and global communities to make access to medicine and to healthcare even better?
It's amazing. Yeah. And while the professionals are doing their professional development, I'm sure you've already talked about the guest program. I was away when you probably did, but the guests get a chance to do a little bit more cultural immersion. What exactly are they doing, the guests doing, as this professional development happens?
Yeah, they're out on their own privately guided tours. So even if you're a guest and there are just a few of you, 3 to 7, sometimes the number varies, you still have your privately assigned guide. So you're off in the Andes looking at these amazing villages. These are the salt pans. So the backdrop of the Andes and these white salt pans, and then the Arambura River, which is also just so majestic. So you're off exploring, and maybe, I don't know, Evette, you might be a little jealous, or your professional members might be a little bit jealous. So the guests have to take good pictures and come back with good stories because it's very pretty in this area.
Yes, we do a lot of sharing on that.
And that's why we come together for lunch, right? After the professional development and they go off and visit the salt pans, they all come together for lunch, which is a great opportunity for them to share stories and pictures and, talk about their experiences individually. And then that afternoon, they get a chance to come back together and get a chance to visit a city that's not as well known as Machu Picchu, but still has a lot of architecture from, the old indigenous cultures. Tell us a little bit about Ollantaytambo.
Ollantaytambo,
I,
yay,
I, I
you
was
got
gonna
it.
do it. I was gonna get it that time, and I just still
No,
couldn't.
you got it. You have to go to Peru just to learn how to pronounce all of these wonderful names. So Incan civilization, of course, yes, Machu Picchu is, of course, globally famous, but that isn't the only site of reverence and origins for this beautiful community. So this is another fabulous location that you'll all visit together. Again, you can see the beautiful backdrops, and you have the valley floors with the Andes Mountains. Again, you'll be given a professional guided experience here, so you really understand what it is you're looking at. So it's not just an Instagram picture, it's a memory, it's a story, and it's an educational moment that goes a lot deeper than just being in place.
Mm. And this is one of those moments, and obviously the following day is another one of those moments where I'm starting to tell people that I encourage them to put their phones away and just be there in the moment. A lot of times I say a lot of our culture is turning into I don't want to see things, I want to be seen seeing things, right? I
Yeah.
want pictures of me on social media so people can see me seeing certain things. And oftentimes you lose the moment, you lose the culture when you're always on your phone taking pictures. So I do encourage people to put their phones away in certain instances to just explore and experience the moment that you're in because when you get views like this on day 6, when we visit Machu Picchu, you want to really take your time to experience those moments. Tell us a little bit about our experience in Machu Picchu, what our group is going to be experiencing, because this is something everybody does together. It is one of those moments that's definitely, live list worthy and something you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's really good advice, Michael, honestly, because Machu Picchu is also very spiritual, and
Right.
people really should take time to have their own anchored moments here. A little bit of time for reflection or maybe some meditation, and people experience Machu Picchu in a different way. So everybody's experience is totally independent. But again, it's privately guided. So our good friend Daniel, who is with you 24/7, is also joined along the way by people that really have, deep, deep knowledge and passion for the location where you're at in that moment in time. So live list for sure, and everybody will experience it differently. This is our speech language pathology. Some of the ladies from that group a couple of years ago experiencing yoga. So all of them, many of them from the group, they wanted to have their yoga moment, and they sure did. So it's a beautiful place with what many have told me is a takeaway they can't describe. It's a feeling. So yeah.
Yeah. And you can't tell in that picture, but they're all balancing on one foot very, very close to that edge. I don't know if I trust myself enough to be close to the edge on one foot.
Evette, we look forward to your picture.
Yeah. Do it for the gram, as the kids say nowadays. Do it for the gram. After our amazing and spiritual experience at Machu Picchu, we head on down to the city of Cusco. We did get a chance to see maybe a portion of it when we flew in before heading to the Sacred Valley. But for the next 3 nights, we're calling Cusco home, and our hotel in Cusco will be where we will spend the remainder of our journey. Again, we have a free night here in Cusco. We get a chance to explore the city on our own before heading out into the local culture on day 7 and learning a little bit about the fusion of medical care. Tell us a little bit about, because I find this really, really intriguing in regards to a journey like this, and just in all honesty, just journeys around the world when medicines are kind of fused together. Tell us a little bit about our experience on day 7.
And Peru is a unique place for this because you have an opportunity to meet with a local shaman, learn about modern day medicine, how that is fused, with traditional medicines. And there are many unique indigenous cultures around the world, but there's something very special about how they integrate the healthcare of the Incan lifestyle with modern day medicine. It's part of everyday life, preventative medicine. How do we keep people healthy? How do we live our lives to be healthy? And that's something Evette and I talked a lot about, being something that we really wanted to incorporate. And we'll visit a nonprofit that does that as well. And they're focusing on, preventative cancer care. Pediatric cancers is something that's very, very high on their kind of prevention list. So this entire day is looking at again, a nonprofit that's providing critical care, but also meeting a shaman, understanding about all that traditional culture and how it can be infused. And many people have brought that back to the conversations, I know, in their workplace when they've learned this is our nursing group in their shaman circle. And every experience is different, right? And everybody's questions are different. So the outcomes of what you experience here, you get as much as you put in, right? So coming with your learning objectives is really, really important. And then how they can be integrated into your everyday profession.
Yeah. And holistic medicine, I think in the US, just really gets a bad rap in terms of, if it's not something that's approved by, FDA regulations. And, that's some of the things that, it does definitely, there's a hesitancy there when it is embraced in many cultures around the world as a holistic way of fusing modern medicine and holistic medicine. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Evette, for a minute. Have you ever been to a destination similar to Peru where you saw that holistic medicine kind of being infused into, modern day medicine? And what did you learn about kind of how that's being done around the world?
Okay, I don't know. Can you hear me? Let's see. I think the last place that we went was South Africa, and it was not only just the holistic medicine, but they had the African drums healing and how those practices played into their healing practices. And one of the things that we did do was we went to the what was it? The plant. What was it called? Botany. It was a what do you call it when you go to a plant? The plant. I've lost the name for the when you go to a plant museum, but it was all the flowers and
Oh, the botanical garden.
the botanical garden. I totally lost that word. But there which was really exciting because we learned about all of the African herbs and the medicines and the different ways that they use those plants to treat different medicine problems. It was a lot of so many different herbs and things, and you're curious about those, and you knew that they used a lot of those, but a lot of those are in the medications and things that we use today, and so that was really interesting in how we how we learned that. And also, I think in India, we learned a lot about their holistic practices of Ayurveda and what was the other one that we did? They do a lot of yoga, meditation, holistic practices that they incorporate into it. And so that has been interested in that. And what I love about that component is how do we bring that back and serve those communities? Can we put those into evidence-based policies, or can we incorporate for those patients so that they can, be patient-centered, so we can provide them that patient-centered care?
Yeah.
It's an amazing part of traveling the world and seeing how they do medicine around. And I learned a new term today for instead of botanical garden, plant museum. I think that's a great way to describe it.
No, that word, but totally. This is what happens when you get over a certain age. Words just kind of leave you.
Yeah.
I love it. Plant museum. I love that. So we have another free evening in Cusco where we get a chance, our last free evening, because our final evening we have a very special moment, which we'll get to in a moment. But our last free evening, we get a chance to explore Cusco, have dinner on our own or with the group as well. But the final day, day 8, we get a history of Cusco. We get a city tour of the beautiful city. Nicola, tell us a little bit about what we have in store on this particular day.
Yeah, so I'd like you to go back, if you would, a little bit, Michael, the other picture of Cusco a little bit further up, because I think it just shows the majesty of, look at that. It's just so stunning. So you're here again with your professional guide, learning about Cusco and how important it is. The architecture blows me away. I just think the red roof tile and the grand churches and cathedrals, and then the backdrop to the small little tiny homes that are in the small communities in Cusco. So this will be an entire dedicated to you exploring this this beautiful city. San Blas is an area that you'll be also exploring. So the architecture, the colors, the neighborhoods, the homes, the food. This is a day of complete exploration and immersion into the culture. And that's, again, camera-worthy day, but the pictures don't do it justice, I don't think, ever. I don't think they ever can do it justice to how it feels and the memories that you bring home with you.
And then this afternoon, like in most journeys, get a chance to go back to your hotel, do your packing, do any final last minute shopping, those little things that you've been delaying, get something for mom, get something for your sister, your brother, or whatever, because this final night is a very special moment. Much like the welcome dinner, we have the farewell dinner. It's kind of bittersweet. You've been spending the last 8 nights sleeping in another bed. Now you're ready to sleep in your own bed. But it's tough to say goodbye to those friends you make along the way. So tell us a little bit about how special that farewell dinner is and how it's a great capstone to an amazing professional development journey.
Well, I think you described it really well. It's sharing of stories and a little teary eyes sometimes. Some people not wanting to say goodbye, but really, it's a time for reflection. And I think it's also a time where people start to commit to what their next steps in your journey is going to be. So this is just the start. It's not actually a goodbye at all. You might be collaborating with one of the people you've met along the way on a future project. Something might have spoke to you along the way, be it the university or a clinic or in the community center, where you know your heart's been touched and you have some expertise that can help. You might just decide to come and visit somebody else in their home in a city that you haven't visited in the United States. This is just the start. It's by no means the end. And I'm fortunate to have been part of many, many Nanda Journeys farewell dinners. And I am so fortunate to have friends that I can call family all over the United States, all over the world. And it's because of these experiences. You know, my own personal journey has been opened up to so many new pathways in Evette. I know yours already has on the 2 Nanda journeys that you've led. You're already telling me about all these projects that are going on and people are talking and doing other things. And that's what I love about the farewell dinner.
Yeah. It's a great moment, a great capstone, and a great opportunity for you to exchange contact information and continue the relationships above me. I've never seen people learn how to airdrop faster than at a farewell dinner, exchanging photos. Like just everybody's learning how to airdrop at that farewell dinner. It's an amazing, amazing moment. The final day, if you can already believe it, we're flying home on day 9, on our way, taking our memories, but leaving our footprints, as we like to say at Nanda Journeys. Talking a little bit about the details. Again, our Exploring Culture and Healthcare journey departs August 23rd to the 31st of next year. 9 days, 8 nights, features 18 meals. The land only cost is $4,999 per person. That's based on double occupancy. If you are planning on traveling as a single, there are singles available. The supplement to travel as a single is $999. If you're looking to fly, Nanda Journeys is capable of obtaining airfare out of all major gateways. You can just call Nicola and her team, and they'll be able to set you up with airfare from any major gateway near you as well. If you are interested in joining, the deposit due is $500 per person. That and travel insurance is recommended and would be due at time of deposit. That deposit is fully refundable, minus a $95 service fee up until March 26th, 2025. The reason that we mention all of this is because space is extremely limited. We only have 16 participants available on this journey, so we're looking to try and the one thing that we do not like doing at Nanda Journeys is, putting you on a wait list. So we always say it's better to have that seat and not need it and lose the $95 than to decide, yes, I'm ready to make my bucket list or live list journey to Peru, and us to tell you that the seat's not available. So if you're interested, put that deposit down for your journey. We'd love to have you, and we welcome you on board our next Nanda Journey. So we do have one question. I don't know if it's Liz Leopold or just Liz Leopold.
It's Liz.
But she had mentioned what vaccines do you recommend? Anything that you want to say to that, Nicola?
Yeah, there are no required vaccines for your journey to Peru. So we recommend that everybody have an independent conversation with their primary care physician based on their own circumstances. There was a Zika outbreak a few years ago. You guys are probably well read on this situation. Has not been a problem of late, but no required vaccinations. There's no COVID requirement for vaccinations or anything else. So, and Liz, if you have additional specific questions, you know where to find us. So do feel free to reach out. I'm so grateful for you continuing to follow our journeys. And Michael, if I may, on the price, I think it's really incumbent of me to let people know that we don't expect you to sleep in inferior accommodations. Like we've planned like 4 and 5 star accommodations for you to really restfully and immersively enjoy Peru. And we work really hard with the team to curate a hotel experience that's typically Peruvian as well. So, in Lima, it's the architecture of the building where you're staying is absolutely stunning. And then in the Sacred Valley, you're staying in these really just stunning locations with a Peruvian hotel that is really going to enhance your experience. So, you're definitely going to be sleeping well and enjoying your early morning breakfast.
Locally owned hotels is the best way to sleep. It doesn't matter. The culture continues where you rest your head as well. One question that I have, again, if you do have any questions from our audience, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I do have one question. I know we're going to be in Peru. It's the middle of August, but we're in the southern hemisphere, so it's opposite weather. So what exactly can they expect in terms of weather in Peru this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, fairly temperate as well. So we're at the end of August. So you could probably expect temperatures in the 70s. Not likely to see any rain, I shouldn't imagine. But of course, you're at altitude. So there are going to be some cool mornings and cool evenings. So the altitude does definitely impact that. So as we say, pretty much for all Nanda journeys, layers is your friend. And a waterproof layer is your friend just in case. But yeah, you're going to experience some really beautiful weather and some hopefully clear blue skies like the pictures we saw in our other Nanda journey groups. They all enjoyed some lovely weather, but it would take like a warm layer for sure.
Absolutely. And Liz had mentioned that she traveled to India on a people-to-people years ago, and she enjoyed it as well.
Liz, it's always so nice to see our alumni names, and I know we've exchanged conversations on a regular basis, and I truly do appreciate you being part of the Nanda family now and transitioning from people to people with us. I appreciate that.
And
knowing that we're
I'm sorry, before you hang up, I do want to share a couple of tips with them about funding their journey.
Absolutely. So we can go. Yep. Let me go to that slide here.
Oh, you already had it in there.
Yeah, we touched on it briefly, but I think your insight is going to be very valuable. There you go.
All right, awesome. Well, again, as a seasoned healthcare professional, I have just experienced these firsthand transformative international trips. And so one of the questions, of course, that we get a lot of people want to go, but how do we fund these professional trips? And I think a lot of times we don't think outside the box. And so I wanted to share specifically on this one, how you can start to look at funding your journey and taking advantage of some of those potential tax benefits that we have, as well as earning the valuable CEUs that we have for you. So as far as funding your journey, there are a lot of different places that you can start to look that get overlooked a lot. And the first place could be grants and scholarships that you have out there, specifically ones with your health. If you're a healthcare professional and you're seeking those experiences, you can look at nursing foundations or just foundations in general, health foundations. A lot of them give out the grants for those or so scholarships. Professional associations are great. If you are associated with a professional association, they're constantly giving out grants. You just have to pay attention to the dates. A lot of them give those year round, multiple times a year. Here in Nevada, we have a Nevada Foundation, and we give those out about 3 times a year. So start to look into some of those. And then you also have local community grants. And that's another opportunity to look at, specifically for something that's going to benefit your community, and you can align that with it. You can begin to look there. Another place that is often overlooked is our employer reimbursement. A lot of employers will pay, or they set aside money for professional funds, professional development funds, or a tuition reimbursement. And as long as you can align it with your goals and show them how you're going to enhance your cultural competence for your leadership skills, that is a great way to get them to, they may not pay, sometimes they'll pay all of it, but a lot of times they may just offset that cost and pay half. So look into those employer reimbursements. A lot of people really overlook those. As a manager of a busy emergency room back in the day, I set money aside for my staff to go to conferences and professional development, things like that. And that's the same money that you can use for that. Another one is crowdfunding. You know, a lot of people forget about crowdfunding, fundraising. You see a lot of people like the GoFundMe accounts on there. If you specifically find a great platform to organize your fundraising event, you know, share that, the value of your trip, share that with how it aligns with your goals, especially as a healthcare professional. you will be surprised at how many people will support you and how many people want to see you achieve your goals. A lot of times we just forget to ask. If people don't know what you're trying to get to, they won't help. But I've seen a lot of people pay for those. You also have your good old-fashioned fundraising. I'm going to say we got a lot of hobbies, a lot of hobbies, flea markets, all types of ways to just fundraising. I think our biggest thing is changing our mindset from, boy, I can't afford that, to how can I make it happen? And so it really is a mindset thing. And so if it's something you really want to do, I've seen people a lot of times, we have so many things that we want to do. We always say we don't have it in the budget, but if it's something we really want to do, we find a way to do it. So if it's something that you're truly passionate about and you're really wanting to make this trip your living list check off, then we can totally help you with that piece of it. The other thing I was mentioning, I said professional organizations like your association. We have our nurse association, your emergency nurse association, but also other professional ones. They have travel stipends. They have grants for those. I also, if you're interested, I have fundraising templates. I have business justifications. I have, especially for your employee, if you need to justify how it's going to come back and benefit your facility. I have those templates already for you. We can just reach out to me and I can get those to you. The other thing I wanted to just share is there is the benefit of the tax deduction that a lot of people don't realize. But if it is something that's an educational travel expense that is deducted as a business expense for the primary purpose of you gaining skills for your professional role, you can use it as a tax deduction. And so I'm going to tell you to especially things like your airfare, you can deduct lodging, meals, even some of the different fees and things. Those are all taxed up. You have to keep detailed records, but that is a great way at the end of your annual year, just write those off. I'm going to tell you to check with your IRS guidelines though for your professional. They're the expert with the updated rules and things specifically to your state that you're in. But that is a great way for you to get your professional development, but also get that tax benefit. And then the last thing I'm going to say is we had 10 CEUs for this by the Nevada State Board of Nursing. And most of us, whether it's, at least if you're a nursing professional, we need those in order to renew our license. And so this does come with 10 CEUs, and some of your states now require a cultural competence or cultural diversity type course. And so this can count towards that. So hopefully some of these will help you at least get you thinking and your juices going about how can I make this happen, right? How can I make this happen? So hopefully that will help you. And I am going, Nicola, if anybody needs those tools or resources, just reach out to me and I can help them with those.
Yeah, I'm looking at you. And I love that, Evette, we did speak briefly about this, Michael and I, and he said exactly what you said. And if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. I'm like, wow, it's spoken like a true Dr. Evette Wilson right there.
I never thought I'd be traveling, but we figured a way to make it happen.
And I scrolled too far, so I'm going to share the information. And that brings us to our end. I know we're a little bit over. That is 100% my fault or my computer's fault. I take the blame, but it's kind of my computer's fault for the technology issues. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. I guess, Evette, any final words that you want to leave with the audience tonight?
I would love for you to join us on this amazing trip. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Every trip that I've went on, Nanda journey has went above and beyond what I could have imagined, and I have left with some amazing friends and partners in projects. So hey, come join us. I'd love to have you come along.
Awesome. And the last word lives with you, Nicola.
Thank you for being here, everybody, tonight. Thank you for bearing with us through our little technical challenges, and reach out. Both Evette, Michael, and I would love to answer any questions you might have and have a one-on-one conversation if that would be helpful. So thanks for being part of the Nanda family, and we'll see you in Peru.
Awesome. Thank you, Evette. Thank you, Nicola, for your time. Thank you, most importantly, to our audience for sharing your time with us this evening as we talked about Peru. We're so excited that you were able to be here. We look forward to seeing you on the next Nanda journey around the world, virtually and in person next year in Peru. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.